Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about the hierarchy of prompts. We have a few guest stars with us and a little video towards the end. Talk that over after we go through a few of our slides today. What we're going to be learning today is about the hierarchy of prompts, and we're going to go through each prompt one by one for understanding. Here's what the hierarchy looks like. So independence, the student is completely on their own. Gestural, indirect, verbal, and nonverbal. Direct, modeling, partial physical assistance, and full physical assistance. And we always go from least to most. We start with the least because it is the least intrusive prompt, and we always want to increase to the most because we don't want to provide support to a student that they don't really need. Or if we can start with the least and they don't do well with the least, then we need to up our game a little bit to provide that support that they need. So other reasons why we might see least to most is because it avoids prompt dependency. Students can become prompt dependent, which is basically they don't complete a task without a prompt, or they don't initiate a task without a prompt. A lot of times we'll see prompts on an IEP. We have started to go away from prompts on an IEP. First, we want to get the child doing the desired behavior or desired pro-social behavior. Once we do that, then we can start to fade the prompts. That's the most important piece. And fading the prompts doesn't necessarily need to be an IEP goal because that's really modifying our own behavior to support the student as we get into them becoming more independent. So this can either be a self-fading or again a staff fading, and that comes easier from least intrusive prompts. Let's move on here and get started as we go through each of the different prompts. Gestural or positional prompting is nonverbal and can include, but it's not limited to, pointing or nodding. Maybe you are holding up a stop sign, or you're moving items, which is positional, near the student so they're in the view. Whatever it is, it's an action that people can observe the teacher doing. So maybe you're pointing at a pencil. What are you supposed to write with on your worksheets? And you point to the pencil. So that is leading them to the answer. Or maybe you are telling the student to please have a seat, and you are standing next to their chair, pointing at the chair, providing them that nonverbal of this is where you need to sit. This can come in many forms. It can be inside the classroom, outside the classroom. Maybe you're getting students to line up in the hallway, or you're transitioning someplace, and maybe you're counting down and you tell the students it's time to get in line, and you stand in the front of the line as you were to have them get in line behind you. This can come also with other objects. First, gestural is really an action that a teacher is providing, but when we go to positional, maybe we're talking about just moving an actual item next to the student. So maybe this time we say, what are you supposed to write with? And then we take the pencil and we slide it in front of them. So now we're using the other item. We're putting the pencil that we are talking about in front of them, and that's that positional prompt. We're putting that in the view and leading them to that answer with the positional prompt. Now we're going to go into indirect and direct, verbal and nonverbal. So indirect, again, leading the student to the answer by asking a question or bringing them to the area of the answer. So what do you need to complete the coloring page? We stopped there. We don't add, in this case, a nonverbal where we're pointing gestural prompt. So we stopped with our prompting question at this point. I think maybe I use this a lot with my teenagers when I'm trying to lead them in the direction of maybe they should be doing some homework or something to that effect. A nonverbal is it's somewhere in the area, and you're using that pointing again to the table of crayons. You're not necessarily picking up the crayons, or you're not you putting those crayons in that student's vision, but you're pointing to the area of where the crayons may be, or the in general what the item is that you're trying to lead the student to the answer. A direct is providing explicit verbal information to support the instruction. So we are directly providing the student with instruction. Get the crayon and complete the coloring sheet. We provided them explicit, it's verbal, it's direct. We are not beating around the bush, so to say, with our verbal. Model prompts. So model prompts is just showing the person what they need to do. So peer modeling and teacher modeling are two methods of using model prompts. Video modeling can be recorded and shared. We're going to show you some video modeling of each of these prompts here at the end of our prompting video. So you're basically teaching in the moment. I do, you do is a very easy way to describe model prompts. Maybe you are showing a student how to put something away. So you stand up and you open up your binder and you're working on organization, and you open up your binder, then you open up your 3 holes, and then you put the papers in and close the binder. So we've just modeled how the skill of how we want them to put the piece of paper in the binder. Or if you're talking about older kids and you're looking at organizational goals, or really it doesn't have to be IEP related. This is for any student, but we're using those model prompts to show and tell really how you do something. A partial physical prompt. So a partial physical prompt is providing that physical action that is guiding the student to complete a task or support. So we could tap somebody on the shoulder, time to go, a little tap on the shoulder. Now they have that partial physical prompt of what they're doing, or maybe they're sitting at a desk and maybe they're not paying attention to what's going on at the board or the task at hand, and maybe we walk behind them and we give them a little bit of a nudge on the elbow, so that reminds them to time to work, initiate that prompt, or that guiding of the arm to where it's supposed to be. There's many different ways to use partial physical prompting. Well, this is getting close to our more intrusive type of prompting, because now we are physically assisting a student. So this is one of the last type of prompts that we start to use within our hierarchy of prompts. And then our full physical prompt. It's physically guiding a student to complete a task. Hand over hands, assisting a student to sit in a chair, assisting a student to get up off the ground are just a few examples of what a full physical prompt will look like. I know that sometimes this can be used for our students that maybe are starting a new task that they've never completed before. This is a highly used full physical prompt with younger students in preschool or in kindergarten. Maybe we're supporting them on writing their letters, and we're doing hand over hand, and we're trying to guide them from line to line. But we can use this often throughout our day with our younger students or our physically disabled students as well. There's many different types of ways to use the physical prompt, but remember, this is the most intrusive, so this is our last resort as a prompt, but this can be used in the classroom to support a student in their behavior modification or the completion of a task. So finally, we're just going to take a look and see these prompts in action. I'm going to thank my colleague and friend, Lindsay Comer, for using her littles today to give us a little bit of a video to model these prompts. I want to thank Lindsay and the Comer boys for modeling that video of hierarchy of prompt for us. And I want to thank you all for watching today and going through these hierarchy and learning about each of the prompts. They're important for our behavior modification and supporting our students and learning what is least, what is most, so we can continue to provide the support in the levels that our students need it. Thanks again for watching. We look forward to seeing you soon.